Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. After a one-year break due to the COVID-19 pandemic, schoolboy football in Jamaica is set for a return in mid-November. This after the government granted approval to the Inter-Secondary Schools Sports Association, ISA, for the resumption of action. Now, all participating players and officials must have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine before the start of competition. The preliminary and the quarter-final rounds are set to be completed before the Christmas break, with the knockout stage set for January 2022. Joining us to talk more about plans for the new season are two gentlemen. One is the chairman of the Manning Cup competition, that's Dr. Oneil Ankle, and chairman of the DaCosta Cup, Livern Wright. Dr. Ankle is principal of the St. Catherine-based Jonathan Grant High, while of course Mr. Wright is principal at the Hanover-based Rossies High School. Gentlemen, two of my favorite schools for differing reasons. Jonathan Grant, obviously, because I am Jonathan Grant. I'm a product of Jonathan Grant. And Rossies, Livern Wright. I don't know if I've told you this before. Growing up, Rossies was always my favorite DaCosta Cup team. And even now, remains my favorite DaCosta Cup team. And when Rossies loses in the D Cup, I feel sad. Yeah, so we'll get a chance to see both schools playing in the competitions this year, one suspects. All right, gentlemen, let's start by looking at where we are. Let's start with the corporate era Manning Cup first. I'm sure Dr. Livern Wright won't mind. But Dr. Ankle, the Manning Cup set to resume after a one-year break. The big news is the vaccine directive, not vaccine mandate, but the vaccine directive for persons looking to participate in the competition. How will that work? How will the checks and the surveillance work to ensure that those who say they are vaccinated with at least one dose actually are?
Thank you very much, George. Thank you very much to the team at SportsMax. Well, in order to have this competition effectively, we have decided as a body to ensure that all students playing in the competition, Manning Cup and DaCosta Cup, of course, all the students are at least receive one dose of the vaccine. Of course, we have put all the systems in place to ensure that this is carried out by the various schools, and the checks and balances will be done by the different teams that will be put in place. Of course, when you get a vaccine, you get a certificate, so all of that will have to be shown before a student can actually play in the competition this year. So that's basically what will be done. Right, your certificate will be required of you to be shown to the various teams that will be in place to ensure. In fact, the management of each school will, of course, ensure that this is done if they want to play any kind of football this year.
Yeah, and you know, I thought twice about asking this question, but you know, this is Jamaica, and this is this part of the world. Things happen like that. People try to beat the system. When it is that the credentials are submitted on behalf of the players, and I'm sure it will be the same for the DaCosta Cup as it is for the Manning Cup, when those credentials are submitted to ISA, does ISA then activate its own mechanism to double check and verify the authenticity of these credentials before a pass is given to say this official and that player good to go for the new season?
Certainly. As you know, ISA is probably one of the, perhaps if not the most effectively run sporting administration in the country. And so we will put all the systems in place to ensure that everything that we lay out for the competition will be done. And so that we can have an effective season, a well-run competition, right? We'll not leave anything to chance, because we have been waiting for this for more than a year. Now that we have been given the green light, certainly the team is in place, will be in place, so that the green light is given to the players who are expected to be vaccinated at the end of the day.
Yeah, Livern, this question is for you. You know, we're looking at the third week in November, which means there's still a lot of work and preparations to be done. How are those coming along?
Well, it's coming on fine. We're pretty much completed with our scheduling for, I think, both Manning and DaCosta Cup. We have a meeting with coaches tonight. I know that Manning Cup has planned various meeting sponsors. A number of things are going on simultaneously. The approvals came to us on the weekend, and we had a few things to work through, like ensuring that the protocols are clear and out to school. So a part of the meetings with different groups, principals, everyone, is about ensuring that all of those things are in place. So we're really working feverishly to ensure that everything is in place for mid-November.
Yeah, and when I saw the vaccine mandate, the first thing that came to mind is, are these students hesitant in any way to take the vaccine, or are you getting a positive response?
Like the rest of the population, some of them are, but we have positive responses from many. We had met coaches very, very early to inform them that this is our policy. We had met principals and we spoke to that with them, and we have a buy-in from principals. Coaches understood, and I think teams are pretty much understanding where things are at. What we have is that people are registering. So it's clear that persons have bought into the approach that we're taking.
So clearly, if you are going to assemble them for games and they have to be vaccinated for the Manning and DaCosta Cup competitions, one of course assumes that you have to assemble them for training. No, I'm not sure. What are the rules around the requirements for trainings, gentlemen? I'll start with Dr. Ankle first. What is in place to ensure that nobody contaminates the broader group in training before you even get to kicking a ball officially in the competition?
Well, of course, all the teams competing this year will have to, put themselves into a kind of bubble, so to speak. Most teams are in camp and they would have done all the necessary checks to ensure that students are not contaminated with the virus. When we do our checks on the ground, the teams that are in camp, the regular temperature checks, sanitization stations are set up. All the necessary things are in place to help us have this competition, because what we don't want is that we start this competition have to stop. So as Livern rightly said, we have met with the coaches on several occasions, and tonight we're going to meet again, or tomorrow night, something like that. So they understand what is at stake, what they need to do to ensure that everything is done above board, all the protocols are observed so that we can have the competition.
Livern, I'd asked your president, Keith Wellington, when he last appeared here, about the use of what I call vaccine captains by region. If you have the country in general, but if you split it up by regions, you have first response officers then in the case that something goes wrong, because you're planning for things to go right, but things can go wrong. Are those in place, or based on the plan, you don't have need for that, given the coordination among ISA, the schools, the health department, and the local parish council, the health department from that parish council?
Exactly. The terms and conditions of approval actually require that kind of coordination exists to ensure that we have no breaches of anything. So what we have is that the health department will have to give approval. The venues will have to be open to health departments to come in to ensure that there is that kind of check. So that kind of timing to ensure that they come in anytime to do what it is they want. In fact, all venues, it's the first that ISA is controlling the venues for the first round of the competition. In fact, we're going to be controlling everyone because we want to ensure that nothing goes awry in our attempting to deal with this. And teams will have their COVID marshals, persons to check off on things. ISA will have persons who are assigned to ensure that this happens. Will be open to parish council, will be open to Minister of Health. So the kind of triangulation of responsibilities is something that's going to ensure that we have already covered.
On the point of venues, Dr. Ankle, which venues will Manning Cup teams be restricted to for this competition?
We will be using 6 venues: Jamaica College, Calabar, Michael University, St. George's College, and Stadium East. Those are the venues that we're going to use to make sure this thing happen. And as Livern rightly said, this is the first time in the history of Manning Cup, basically the history of schoolboy football, that will be controlling the venues from day one until the end.
Yeah. Which venues in the DaCosta Cup are you activating, Livern?
Many. I might leave out some, but I guess you'll understand because
yes.
We're working by parishes. So we have we have 8 zones because we have 52 teams participating in the DaCosta Cup. We have 8 zones, and what we have done is that we have conveniently zoned them in terms of proximity. So parishes, St. James Trelawney teams are pretty much in one zone because we have a reduced number. We have so in St. James Trelawney there's William Nib, which is incidentally I'm principal for. I actually had left Rossi's your favorite school.
Yes.
Yes. So William Nib is one. We are having negotiations to just finalize what is happening in Montego Bay because we have a number of options, but we are sure about Irwin High. We are sure about Hope Sports Complex in Hanover and Land Dial for Westmoreland. For St. Elizabeth, it's Stets. For Manchester, it's Kirkvine at Manchester High. We're looking at Clarendon College, Glenmuir, and Fogo Road, along with Garvey Masio. And we have, I think, Carter Park and Lynch Park in St. Thomas and Portland, and in St. Anne and St. Catherine with the Dint Hill and all of those teams. It's Dint Hill and Drax Hall.
Yeah.
So I think I have all of them, yes.
Yeah, William Nib, but that's Usain Bolt's school for the viewers watching in the outside of Jamaica.
I figure that's one of your favorite too.
yes, and those from Trinidad just say Nib School and refer to it by that. But gentlemen, here's something that just came to me, Dr. Ankle, Livern Wright. Schoolboy football, when the team bus is traveling to games, usually that bus has people, it doesn't only have players. We know this for those of us who played schoolboy sport. You have some supporters, some people, around the team who travel with them. What kind of tolerance will be extended to those kind of peoples? Will that bus be a sterile area? Only people with that vaccine pass checked off at the door traveling. What can you say on that?
Certainly. We're running a tight ship this year. If you're not vaccinated, you're not supposed to be on that bus. And we're asking principals, no doubt principals are going to help us, and the COVID marshals are going to help us to ensure that all of this is done. Because there's no spectators in the stadium or in the area of where the competition will be played. The same thing will be applied for those who are coming on the bus. If you're not vaccinated, in fact, we're asking that it reduce to players and the management team. That's all. No stragglers this year.
No stragglers.
You have to watch it on SportsMax.
There you go. Gentlemen, that's all the time we have. Thank you, new principal of William Nim, Livern Wright, Jonathan Grant High School principal, Dr. Oneil Ankle. All the best, gentlemen. We'll be watching and we'll be broadcasting.
Blessings.
Thank you very much.
Good. All right, the DaCosta Cup and Manning Cup action back on the airwaves and back in the venues. The schoolboys will be able to play schoolboy sports in Jamaica. The government giving the green light, and ISAP its plan in place to get both competitions underway in November.